In this Nerdlet episode, I'm going to show you how to convert events to metrics. So probably all know that events are immutable time-step record of discrete action. It can provide important information to help you determine the precise moment of a problem. For example, you can insert a custom event every time a user places an order to your website and record user ID, dollar amount, number of items bought, and processing time, and etc. Well, events are great for troubleshooting, but for long-term storage, it can be expensive. This is where metrics data can help. Metrics, we have 13 months data retention by default, and it also provides an aggregated view of your events data, and are more efficient for capture the trends over longer time ranges. For example, it could aggregate transaction response time for your website to one metric and then examine the data month over month. Now let's take a look at how to convert events to metrics. Let's go to New Relic one. Under the apps, there is a tool called Metric Aggregator. This tool can help us to create the events to metric rule. Let's create a rule. First, we need to choose the account we want to apply the rule, and we can select the event we want to convert to metric. It can be any default event that captured by New Relic agents or any custom event you recorded. I'm going to use transaction event as an example. And then we need to choose the query function we want to use. If you would like to be able to query the average, minimum, maximum, sum, and count information, you can choose summary. If you want to be able to query percentile or histogram of the new metric, you can choose distribution. And if we only care about unique count of the new metric, then we can choose unique count. For this case, I would like to convert our transaction duration. So I'm going to choose the summary so that I will be able to see the average response time and the throughput. Next up, we can select attribute for the metric. I want to be able to use the duration. Next step is optional. You do have option to filter to more specific transaction you want to convert to metric. For example, only from a certain application or from a certain host or production environment, etc. I'm going to skip that. And next step is to add some additional attributes so that we'll be able to fixate on the metric after the metric is created. So I'm going to choose my app name, and also would like to see the response time with our HTTP response code, as well as a custom attribute that we created called user login. See how if the user logged in affected the response time. One thing need to be noticed that we don't want to choose attribute with a lot of unique values because you can hit the cardinality limit. There's a 50,000 cardinality limit for each metric per 24 hours. Need to be kept into mind. The next step, we can name the new metric name. I'm going to call it transaction response time. And I'm going to just use it as the alias of the metric as well. As well as the description, but definitely give it a better description. Next step, we can create a rule. And we can see the rule has been created. On the right hand side, it will also have a glance of the limit the cardinality limit that we applied for the account. Now, if I select the rule that we just created, you can see how many events are converted to metrics. You can have an idea. Let's scroll down, we can see the attribute we selected and the NURCL query that is used to create this rule. Well, as I mentioned, there's also a manual way to create events to metric, is that you need to build your own NURCL query, and then you can go to New Relic GraphQL API, api.newrelic.com, GraphQL, and there's a mutation endpoint under events to metrics. We can create, delete or update the rule by using the API as well. Just give it account ID, subscription name, and NURCL query, which is already built from the UI for us. But if you want to use the GraphQL, you may want to build a NURCL query manually and then create the events to metric rule in this way. After the rule is created, any new transactions that are reported in Relic will be converted to this metric, and we will be able to query this metric as well. If we go to query our data, one thing need to be noticed that the rule is not working retroactively, so any old transaction won't be converted to the metric. But only after the rule is applied, the transaction events will be applied. You can run the query and see the transaction response time over time. And I can also facet by the app name as we defined, also the HTTP response code, as well as our user login information. I can also add attachers. As you can see, we just see the metric started reporting a couple minutes ago. Yeah, this is how you convert events to metrics. Hope this is helpful.